Welcome to Movies in the Making. In today's episode, we're going to be looking at the 1999 sci-fi action film The Matrix, released by Warner Brothers and directed by the Wachowskis. Here, we will dive deep into the story of the production of this film. Now, this is an iconic film that has been idolized by many audiences, for better and for worse. There is no other film like The Matrix. Well, there is, but this particular film holds the most popularity and therefore the most cultural impact. Much so that such a film was a lengthy process to create, and we are now going to discuss a lot about how The Matrix was created behind the scenes. So, sit back, take the red pill, and relax. You are all in for a deep ride. The Wachowskis came up with the idea for The Matrix in the early 1990s, initially working on a comic book concept before expanding it into a larger vision. Influenced by a mix of philosophical ideas, cyberpunk fiction, Japanese anime, and Hong Kong martial arts films, they imagine a world where reality is a digital simulation controlled by sentient machines. This concept grew into a film about a group of rebels, led by Morpheus, who fight against the system's agents while trying to free humanity from the Matrix, a simulated world created by the machines. The Wachowskis meticulously storyboards the film and presented it to Warner Bros. In 1994, which helped solidify the concept. They blended action with deep philosophical and existential themes, pushing the boundaries of cinema with innovative visual techniques like bullet time and a focus on martial arts choreography. Keanu Reeves, cast as the protagonist Neo, became a new type of action hero, one who was vulnerable and introspective. The film's philosophical underpinnings, along with its groundbreaking action sequences and visual effects, made it a revolutionary film in both science fiction and action genres, creating a lasting impact on popular culture. Keanu Reeves landed the role of Neo in The Matrix after a pivotal meeting with the Wachowskis, who had already envisioned him for the role. According to Reeves, his agent arranged a meeting where he was shown the script, which he found incredible, along with some early concept art and a preview of the groundbreaking bullet time effects. The part almost went to Will Smith, who turned it down for Wild Wild West, also from Warner Bros. And released 3 months after The Matrix, followed by Nicolas Cage and Brad Pitt, with Leonardo DiCaprio also passing due to his recent work on Titanic, Paramount Pictures 1997. The Wachowskis asked Reeves to train for 4 months before filming, a request to which he eagerly agreed. His audition was so compelling that it secured him the role instantly. Laurence Fishburne was initially one of many actors considered for the role of Morpheus in The Matrix, with other big names like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Michael Douglas, Val Kilmer, Gary Oldman, and Samuel L. Jackson also being considered. However, Fishburne stood out when he quickly grasped the complex script, which many others found confusing, making his performance as the wise and enigmatic leader of the Resistance all the more compelling. His deep understanding of the material and his commanding presence ultimately secured him the role, bringing Morpheus to life with his trademark solemnness. Carrie-Anne Moss, who had been steadily working in film and television for nearly a decade without landing a breakout role, finally got her big break with The Matrix. Ironically, she had previously starred in a short-lived fantasy series called Matrix. Casting the perfect trinity was no easy task, as Janet Jackson turned down the role due to scheduling conflicts, and Madonna and Sandra Bullock also passed, with Bullock later regretting her decision. Other actresses like Lizzie Perez, Selma Hayek, and Jada Pinkett Smith auditioned, but Moss ultimately secured the part. She drew inspiration for her performance from the cool, tough persona of Clint Eastwood, and her portrayal of Trinity made her a household name. Hugo Weaving initially hesitated to take on the role of Agent Smith in the film, as he had avoided big-budget Hollywood films for personal reasons, preferring to focus on theater and low-budget films in Sydney, Australia, where he lived with his family. However, after meeting the Wachowskis and seeing their feature debut Bound, Gramercy Pictures, 1996, he was won over by their humor and the script's depth, especially the portrayal of Agent Smith. Weaving had a nomadic childhood and was used to moving around the world. Here, he was attracted to the challenge of playing a villain and was excited by the physicality required for the role, having trained for months to perform martial arts. Ultimately, his decision was driven by a desire for varied roles and his belief in developing characters with nuance, making this film a project he ultimately embraced. The Matrix was primarily filmed in Sydney, with key scenes shot at Fox Studios, where the film's interiors were created. Filming took place between March and August 1998. The Sydney cityscape played a significant role in establishing the dystopian futuristic world of the film, with iconic locations such as Martin Place, featuring the water fountain designed by Lloyd Reeves, and the Colonial State Bank Center, where Fishburne's Morpheus is held captive by Weaving Smith. The production also made use of Adams Street Bridge in Chinatown, and the film generated significant buzz as it took over large sections of Sydney's central business district. This marked one of the first major American productions at Fox Studios, contributed to Sydney becoming a hub for international film productions in the years that followed. Building most of the sets from scratch offered several advantages. It allowed the cast and crew to shoot action sequences, such as the bullet-riddled or smashed-up scenes, without worrying about damaging anything since they could easily rebuild the sets. This also gave them full control over temperature, lighting, and logistics. More importantly, these practical sets enhanced the film's immersion, as the actors could physically interact with the environments and cast natural shadows, something green screen effects could not achieve. Production designer Owen Patterson was responsible for creating 30 unique sets, all of which contributed to the film's realism. To prepare for the film, the main cast underwent months of intense training, with the actors committing to physical conditioning and studying topics such as psychology to better understand their roles. Reeves, Moss, Fishburne, and Weaving all had to train under Hong Kong fight coordinator Yuan Wu Ping, despite many of them having no prior martial arts experience. Reeves was recovering from a herniated disc. He trained while wearing a neck brace and could not perform kicks until later in the shoot, leading the filmmakers to schedule the action scenes later in the production. Moss and Weaving sadly faced injuries during training, with Moss spraining her ankle and Weaving needing surgery for a hip injury, later cracking ribs and injuring his wrist. Despite these challenges, the actors preserved for grueling physical training to bring the complex action and fight scenes to life. Fishburne and Weaving faced significant challenges while filming the bathroom fight scene, primarily due to the confined space of the set. The tight area made the scene claustrophobic, and the set was designed to allow the actors to break walls that would spray dust on them. Fishburne, who suffers from allergies, was constantly sneezing, which made it harder for him to focus on the choreography and avoid injury. Despite their efforts to be cautious, the actors accidentally hit each other too hard during the fight, with Fishburne's block punch causing Weaving's fist to crack upon impact. The crawl space scene, where the heroes hide to avoid the agents, was filmed using practical effects. The set was a tall, narrow structure where the actors were harnessed and had to crawl silently down the shaft without disturbing their castmates. Cameras on cranes moved up and down, capturing the scene without breaking the shot, adding to the tension. When the agents discover them and Morpheus bursts through the wall, the characters slide down the shaft at high speed, a sequence also done practically. The actors were dropped on wires as wooden splinters shattered around them, enhancing the realism of the scene. The Wachowskis also aimed to use practical effects whenever possible, even for the most grotesque scenes, like when an agent's bug is inserted and extracted from Neo's stomach. To create this effect, a detailed and carefully painted cast of Reeves' torso was made for an extreme close-up. An animatronic bug, similar to those used in Jurassic Park, Universal Pictures, 1993, was built and placed inside the dummy's stomach. Operated remotely, the bug appeared to wriggle inside Neo's body, and this footage was combined with CGI to show the agents dropping the bug onto him. The creative team used a green color scheme to symbolize the artificial reality of the Matrix, enhancing themes of illusion versus reality. The green tint, reminiscent of early computer screens, emphasizes the digital nature of the simulated world, highlighting its fabricated nature. This eerie color creates a sense of unease and surveillance, contrasting with the colder, more natural tones of the real world. Achieved through color grading and lighting, the green hue was pushed into the highlights, desaturating other colors for a dystopian effect. Green screen technology also helped create the iconic green matrix code, which became a lasting symbol of the film's themes. This visual style not only set the film apart, but also influenced how digital realities and cyberpunk aesthetics are portrayed in filmmaking. The Woman in Red was intended to demonstrate how easily people can be distracted by the material world's beauty, but this message was lost on many crew members who stared at actress Fiona Johnson whenever she left her trailer. While not as extreme as some onlookers in Sydney, the distraction took an unexpected turn when the character ended up diverting the attention of a driver parked under a large roller door. The door descended onto his car, damaging the roof, leading the crew to joke that he would have trouble explaining the accident to his wife. The helicopter crash scene, where Neo and Trinity rescue Morpheus by flying a helicopter alongside a high-rise and crashing it into the building, was almost cut from the film. The sequence, which involved extensive planning, time, and money, was initially questioned by the studio, who felt it unnecessary given the big final battle still to come. However, the filmmakers were determined to keep the scene in, and they ultimately won the agreement. The visual effects were groundbreaking, largely due to the innovations by John Gaeta, who revolutionized the field with his work on the film. One of the most notable aspects of the film's effects was the use of virtual cinematography, a term Gaeta coined. The film combined a photoreal CGI with real actors, creating a hyper-realistic and immersive world. The effects team used a technique that blended real-world footage with computer-generated backdrops, enabling them to seamlessly integrate actors into digital environments. This was especially crucial for complex scenes, such as the iconic bullet-dodging moment, which combined real action with CGI environments in a way that had never been done before. The success of The Matrix in blending these elements made it a milestone in visual effects, laying the foundation for future advancements in virtual production. Bullet time, the visual effects in The Matrix, was achieved through a unique combination of multiple still cameras, high-speed film, and CGI. To create the iconic slow-motion shots, the filmmakers set up a camera array, often using up to 120 still cameras arranged around the actors performing key movements in front of a green screen. These cameras captured the scene from various angles. The images were then digitally scanned, stabilized, and matched. The final sequence was created by using early optical flow technology to interpolate frames, allowing the action to be slowed down dramatically while the virtual camera could move freely around the scene. This effect made it possible to freeze time while still having the camera move through the environment, which used to be impossible in traditional filmmaking. Bullet time became one of the most iconic visual effects in cinema history and set the stage for the development of virtual cinematography, influencing numerous films and advertisements since. As of the 23rd of March, 2025, The Matrix has an 83% critics rating on Rotten Tomatoes, a 73 out of 100 critics score on Metacritic, an 8.7 rating on IMDb, and a 4.2 rating on Letterboxd. The film's budget was about $63 million and it grossed about $463 million following its initial release date of the 31st of March, 1999. The film won 4 Academy Awards, one for Best Film Editing to Zack Steinberg, one for Best Sound to John Wright, Greg Rudloff, David Campbell, and David Lee, one for Best Sound Effect Editing to Dane A. Davis, and one for Best Visual Effects to John Gaeta, Janik Sears, Steve Courtley, and John Thum. In 2012, the film was chosen by the American Library of Congress to be preserved for the National Film Registry as culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. The film has been compared to several violent crimes in the years following its release, notably after the Columbine High School massacre on the 20th of April, 1999, where Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold killed 13 people. It was reported that the killers were influenced by Neo from the film, wearing long black trench coats like those worn by Neo and calling themselves the Trenchcoat Mafia. The film was also cited in defense cases, such as that of Josh Cook, who shot his parents in 2003, claiming he had believed he lived inside the Matrix and even had a poster from the film. Similarly, Lee Malvo, one of the Washington area snipers, was reportedly obsessed with the film's themes of mind control and blurred realities. Communications professor Joanne Cantor noted that, while many violent criminals referenced violent films, those who cited The Matrix often provide more detailed accounts of the film's influence, suggesting the film had an additional impact due to its blending of fantasy and reality. And that wraps up our deep dive into the making of The Matrix. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to stay updated on all things movies in the making. And also don't forget to share with friends. Let us know in the comments what you think of The Matrix, or if you have any favorite moments from that film we did not touch upon, or what films you would like to hear covered by this channel. Also be sure to check out our community page, where we announce what films we talked about by this channel each week. New posts arrive every Friday, or Saturday if we forget to post on Friday. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all next time on Movies in the Making, where we'll be talking about the Lego Movie, Warner Bros. 2014, and more films to follow along the way. Tune in for more Movies in the Making as we uncover the stories behind cinema's most unforgettable films. This has been Jason Scotchmer, film enthusiast and passionate about the arts.